historic black town of Vernon, Oklahoma, named after William Tecumseh Vernon, an Episcopal bishop and educator born in 1871. With the valuable help of the town's historian, we've been able to add important new information about a community that's been around for almost 130 years, but it was only officially incorporated in 2005.
So Vernon is located right here.
Clarence Backus Jr. is the executive director of the Vernon Chamber of Commerce, the town notary, the owner and publisher of the Vernon Press, and the town's official historian.
Okay, basically, Vernon started in about 1895 with Edward P. McCabe, who was very instrumental in starting most of the towns in Vernon and played a large role in ensuring that they succeeded. So around 1895, he was able to secure the land from the Creek Nation to the 40 acres that the town originally started on. Then around 1910, the town was plotted, and 1911, it was actually established.
In its heyday, Vernon grew to about 2,300 people.
The heyday would have been from around 1917 to around 1923.
Cotton was king in those days, until it wasn't.
The price of cotton dropped. Then the next thing that hit was the boll weevil, the Mexican boll weevil, and then there was an army worm that destroyed the crop. When that happened, and a lot of people had to leave, they had to find a way to support their families. The next thing that happened was the Depression. And during the Depression, of course, everything slowed down. And then the final straw was the railroad. When the railroad left in 1939, that was pretty much
it. Today, just 27 people call Vernon home.
You used to always say Vernon was the place to be.
The Vernon Charitable Foundation has about 75 members and includes past and present residents of this 80-acre town in McIntosh County.
I attended school here. My mother started me to school here in Vernon High School when I was 5 years old. I had a wonderful teacher, and I never forgot her.
Mary Boone recalls a bustling Main Street when she was growing up.
Thing about it, we did have stores here, and we had the McDonald's store, the Holloway store, and Elvin Floyd had a hamburger cafe.
Her cousin, Elfie Guyton, says Vernon didn't have electricity until she was a teenager.
I was born in 43, and so we didn't have electricity until in 58. I was about 14, around 14 when we when we had electricity, where they ran the line up there, and we was able to get a TV. Right. And that was highlight.
On this day, Clarence Walker reunited with his pal Benny Cato. The two spent most of their childhood growing up in Vernon.
I went up to Benny's house. I spent more time up there, I believe I did, than my own house, especially in the daytime. I was always up there, when we wasn't in school. I'd go up there and play with them till they run me home.
Pastor of the New Hope Baptist Church in Vernon, Anderson Fields, remembers the hard-working days of his youth.
But I was coming up on 14 years of age, and my dad asked me to stay at home to help farm.
Pastor Fields returned home to Vernon after retiring and joined the church ministry.
So I'm thankful to be from Vernon. And I got homesick, and I said I want to move back home. And I came back home later years.
Mary Boone graduated from Vernon High School in 1954, home of the Tigers.
And we had a nice gymnasium we could play inside, so we had more students to come from other schools to visit here.
Clarence's grandfather, W.M. Backus Sr., was instrumental in getting the school built. It opened in 1950 and closed in 1969.
He and several other businessmen from Vernon were able to go to the county and put a measure on the ballot to get funding to build the school building in Vernon. So the brick building that you see there today, that is as a result of W.M. Backus getting the funding, and they got $300,000 to build that building and to do repairs at the buildings in the other schools around the county. $300,000 then is $8.3 million in today's money.
And that's your grandfather?
That's my grandfather. And he was the sheriff of the town from 1925 up until around 1950.
Eric Coley was born in Rochester, New York, and moved to Vernon in the 8th grade.
Coming here kind of slowed things down, made things on a more smaller perspective, but also allowed me to look at things in the eyes or lenses that my forefathers and my family looked at them, in a sense of trying to make the most out of all the opportunities that are given.
Coley's family encouraged him to be a true student athlete.
My mom always enjoyed the fact of me playing basketball, but she always stressed education. My grandmother was a Sunday school teacher, substitute teacher, and just the idea of being able to say read and write was probably way more important to her than me ever dunking a basketball.
After graduating from Eufaula High School, Coley attended the University of Tulsa.
The one thing for Vernon that allowed me to fit with Tulsa was the ideal of the size. Vernon being a small community, Tulsa being a smaller university amongst the state schools.
He went on to play basketball for the Tulsa Golden Hurricane from 1996 to 2000 under legendary coach Bill Self.
He was one of the easiest guys, easiest coaches I ever played for, and motivated you every day to want to give it your all. If you found yourself in needed somebody to talk to, even to this day I can still call him.
Coley was a contributor on the 2000 Tulsa team that won 32 games and advanced all the way to the Elite Eight in the NCAA tournament. During his time in college sports, Coley says he always made time, though, to return to Vernon.
But my heart was always here from the time I moved here as a kid. Just being able to say keep the family house open so when we have our family reunions, our people have a place to come home to.
Coley now volunteers his time helping the Vernon Charitable Foundation in its mission to help revitalize the town.
When you want to be a part of something bigger than yourself, then what better way than to volunteer into something that your family in the town, which is basically one big family, that's still thriving and continuing on, even though on a smaller scale.
Benny Cato says the foundation was established in 1978.
It'll never be like what it used to be, but we still, we grew up here, we love Vernon.
The foundation works in partnership with the Chamber of Commerce and the city itself to improve infrastructure and historical buildings.
We're on the way right now. We just got a $1.3 million grant for fixing the roads. There's another $1.3 million for bringing the waterways, fixing the waterways, the bridges.
They also hope to restore the Dozier building and turn it into a museum. It was built in 1915 and at one point was home to the city's post office. What's needed most now is an influx of new businesses.
I would like just to see the ideal of people having a place to come back home to, whether it be affordable housing, some type of business, manufacturing, or even just the ideal of a retirement village.
I got interested in helping the town because people wanted to see some change take place. So I got involved to show them what a government looks like and the things that you could do.
Tourism may eventually play a role as well, because whether you're visiting or call it home, Vernon, Oklahoma is a peaceful place to be.
Every time somebody come home, they always say this is the best sleep they ever have gotten in a long time. And it's just that sense of love and warmth that you get.